There is so much nuclear news to get through, but first I want to congratulate all the early stage investors that were able to put up with the down market, that have the high pain tolerance, because now you are being rewarded. The market knows exactly how bullish the uranium thesis is, which is why the Sprott Uranium Miners ETF was up 12% last week, and the broader S&P was only up 4%. The highest quality assets will outperform once the macroeconomic headwinds are behind us. I've been saying this for a long time. It is absolutely true. The bullish fundamentals will come to light. So the question is, can this rally be sustained? We will dive into the macroeconomic activity charts and data tomorrow. But for now, let's dive into the nuclear news on the week. So we have this report out of the World Nuclear Association, where they give a lot of stats related to the nuclear industry, which is what we're investing in. So here we have charts of nuclear electricity production by country. Look at the nuclear electricity production in Belgium hitting an all-time high. Look at the nuclear electricity production in Brazil, about to hit an all-time high. Look at the nuclear electricity production in Canada, stable, most likely continuing its bullish uptrend. Look at the exponential growth in nuclear electricity production in China. So not only is it growing exponentially, it is also significantly higher than Canada. Canada is around 90 terawatt hours, and China is at 400 terawatt hours and growing fast. Look at the nuclear electricity production in India. Absolute exponential growth coming from a small base, but we know that's getting bigger. This all speaks to the nuclear renaissance that is unfolding before our very eyes. Look at Japan. Look at the capacity it has, 300 terawatt hours. Look at the low base we are starting up from. This is why Rick Rule is so excited about Japan restarting, because they are about to become massive nuclear electricity producers once all their power plants come online. But this is just a sign of how much room there is to grow in Japan. Pakistan, we are growing exponentially. Look at Russia, more exponential growth. Look at the UK. We know they are working day and night to build out a massive nuclear infrastructure. So this is about to rebound significantly. And look at the United States of America. Obviously, massive growth over the last few decades. It's been stable, but we also know that this is about to pick up as well. Just to summarize, we have nuclear electricity production broken out by region on a global scale, reaching an all-time high, higher than it was in the last nuclear renaissance in the early 2000s. But the most fascinating thing about all this is look at the spot price of uranium. We're seeing nuclear power generation on a global scale significantly higher than where it was back in 2010, when the spot price was about 70 bucks on average. But right now we're sitting at 49. So this speaks, it screams more upside. We also know there's a supply crunch going on, which is going to cause this all to go up. So we have massive growth in nuclear power generation. That's the demand side. We've covered at length in this series how the supply is severely constrained. And so it's all pointing to massive upside. Now that the liquidity panic selling has abated this week, we're getting massive outperformance, justifiably so, in the miners. Speaking of the miners, Camco, one of the most powerful companies in this space, had an earnings call, and this is what they alluded to. Did I hear that right? From Camco's Grant Isaac, nuclear industry consultants were suggesting a Western uranium incentive price at $70 per pound level for bringing on new mines in this bifurcated market. And we wouldn't argue with the price $20 per pound higher due to inflation. So not only is demand picking up, not only is supply constrained, but we have inflation. So a lot of the input costs to get this stuff out of the ground, it's all going up. So the spot price has to go up. They are saying that the incentive price for it to come out of the ground to meet this demand is $70 per pound. That came out on the Camco conference call. One of the most exciting aspects of all this that they brought up was their supply discipline. So they are not bringing uranium supply on the market because they obviously know that they're going to be paid the higher the uranium spot price goes. So they definitely don't want to sell it at low prices, especially knowing that the incentive price is $70 per pound. We remain committed to our supply discipline that balances delivering low-cost pounds into committed sales contracts and maintaining unencumbered supply for future years by preserving our Tier 1 assets. They are not going to sell unless the spot price goes way higher, goes to where it belongs. And so obviously as industry insiders, they are aware of the bullish fundamentals in this space, and they want to take advantage of it, just like a lot of early stage uranium investors. So in the United States, the Inflation Reduction Act is being worked on. And the big question for us is, how does it impact the nuclear energy industry? So let's break down how it impacts the nuclear energy industry. Improved tax credits for nuclear energy. This provision is a scaling credit that is based on plant revenue that applies to existing nuclear plants. The credit multiplies by a factor of 5 if labor requirements are met. The program will start in 2024 and end in 2032. Next, the draft also includes $700 million for the high-assay, low-enriched uranium, an essential fuel source for the next generation of advanced reactors. Currently, production is limited to Russia, a national security vulnerability that could prove disastrous given current global events. We can currently purchase all HALEU from Russia. So the US government is planning to subsidize high-assay, low-enriched uranium to move away from Russia. This is probably the most bullish fundamental. There's so many, but it can't get more exciting than this when the government is just dumping money into this space. And so, yes, the spot price will absolutely rise. Anyone in the nuclear power generation field should benefit from this wall of government money. Also included is $250 billion for Department of Energy loans. This is big money, critical funding to accelerate the build out of innovative clean technology currently in development. Together, these provisions would be an enormous boom to the nuclear energy industry and a lifeline for our climate efforts, as we need every bit of clean power we can generate in order to meet our climate targets. Now, if this passes, it is absolutely game-changing and part of why uranium assets are massively outperforming the broader market. Now, let's go around the world as we continue our coverage of the rapidly expanding nuclear renaissance globally. This is for all you German skeptics out there. Germany says it may leave its final 3 nuclear energy plants running for longer than planned, reversing nearly a decade of work. How valuable is nuclear technology when these staunch critics have been working over a decade to phase it out, but they're so desperate for it, they need it so badly, it is such a crucial energy supply that they are reversing that work and they're running right back into it. It speaks to how unbelievably important it is. Germany is considering keeping nuclear plants running beyond end 2022 when they are due to shut. The country has been planning to phase out nuclear energy, but is now facing a gas crisis. Major natural gas supplier Russia has been cutting flows to Germany, pushing it toward recession. It must be nice to have the opportunity to invest in crucial pieces of infrastructure while they are undervalued in the midst of a massive supply crunch and wall of government money coming to it. Doesn't get more exciting than that. Asia goes nuclear as climate. Ukraine banish memory of Fukushima. China, Japan, South Korea, and India are betting on nuclear power amid climate crisis, energy security fears. I showed you the charts. They're going big. This is happening all over the world. Now, why is this such a crucial piece of global infrastructure? Well, look at this chart. Kilowatt hours generated by 1 kilogram of fuel. You have 7 kilowatt hours for 1 kilogram of coal, 13 kilowatt hours for 1 kilogram of oil, 20 Three, I hope I'm reading this right, 23 million kilowatt hours for 1 kilogram of uranium. It is absolutely revolutionary. This is why the world is going to run on uranium. This is why this chart of the spot price of uranium is in its very early stages. And we have a lot more room to run as the world scrambles to accumulate as much of this revolutionary fuel source as humanly possible. Even though this chart goes for a while, we're still in the early stages in the grand scheme of human history, and everything will run on uranium. I keep saying that. Now, the other way to play this global nuclear renaissance is to invest in the infrastructure rather than the uranium miners. We have an update from SMR, NuScale Power, which is one of the companies which is taking advantage of the small modular reactor technology, which is going to enable the rapid proliferation of this power source. So here's an update from NuScale Power. NuScale Power, ticker SMR, has achieved final design certification for its small modular reactor from the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the first SMR to be certified in the USA. And so that is exactly why the SMR NuScale Power Core company stock price was up 13% last week. Obviously, again, just a betting on early stage revolutionary technology. And so we will stay on top of this early stage market. Obviously, in order to realize these bullish fundamentals, we have to deal with the macroeconomic realities, which are depression, recession, inflation, the Federal Reserve, and we will cover that in the macroeconomic charts, which I will share with you tomorrow, which go through the trends. How is all this stuff trending? How is it all working together in a centrally planned economy like ours? What the Federal Reserve does and will do is all important. And so we're going to dive into the data tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. Such an exciting time.